all, and good evening. It is Halloween, the spookiest day of the year. I'm holding a flashlight under my face. It is the easiest way to make something even more spooky. The tried and true way of telling spooky stories around the campfire is holding a flashlight under your face. And it has been a very spooky Halloween season here on this channel. I've been through an uncountable number of haunted houses and haunted attractions for this Halloween season, as is the tradition on this channel. And I want to do something a little different today. I wanted to talk about something a little different on this channel. Now I get a question often when I do live streams, and a lot of people ask, you know, if I personally have any paranormal experiences. Now, you know, I have some good friends that have paranormal channels. I've been to some haunted houses on this channel, but I wouldn't necessarily consider this as a ghost hunting channel. I'm no ghost hunter. I'm not skilled enough to catch a ghost. I'm actually not patient enough to catch a ghost. I get really impatient trying to hunt ghosts, trying to listen to ghosts, trying to use the ghost detectors to find ghosts. But I did want to talk about some of the unusual experiences I've had in my life. Kind of talk about some of the paranormal experiences or experiences that would be considered paranormal, fall under that umbrella. Now, where my beliefs lie as far as the paranormal and unknown is, I like to keep an open mind. You know, I tend not to believe in something fully unless I have experienced it myself, or I have seen it, or I have seen a large amount of evidence that shows that something is true. But I never like to close the door on things. You got to keep an open mind. You know, you always open the possibility that there's something out there beyond what we can understand. I know that there's things out there beyond our understanding. So I definitely believe that. So I consider myself an open-minded person. I guess that's where I lie on the spectrum between skeptic and true believer in the paranormal. And so when I was a kid, I got interested in ghosts, in aliens, in Sasquatch, in the Loch Ness Monster, cryptids, and ghosts were a large interest of mine. I remember checking out books at the library about Sasquatch. I remember checking out books that were true ghost stories, and I was fascinated. I wanted to know if these things really existed. So, in my mind, I think these were things that the unknown kind of spooked me a little bit when I was a kid. I remember watching, what's that show? That show on, I think it was on Fox. There's an alien show. Sightings, I think it was called. Sightings. It was a show about aliens on Fox, the Fox network. I think it was on Fox when I was growing up. And I remember seeing, you know, I would always watch that and listen to the accounts of aliens. Also loved Unsolved Mysteries. Was a show that I was terrified of as a kid, but was also fascinated. And I remember camping out in my backyard in a tent, and I wanted to go to the house because I was scared, but I was too afraid to leave the tent because I was scared. And then I remember one thing that kept like in my head that was terrifying me was I was thinking about the Men in Black. I had seen an episode of Sightings that talked about the Men in Black that came after you'd seen an alien. They came to your house and tried to intimidate you. For some reason, that idea terrified me of the Men in Black. And I remember often as a kid looking up into the dark sky, if I saw something unusual or something, I thought I saw something move, that would really scare me. That would really, I don't know, looking up at the stars was terrifying as a kid because I was terrified of aliens, for real. And at one point I saw something that, to this day, I cannot completely explain away. I have some ideas, but I can't explain it away. And I was coming back from my paper route, and unfortunately, living in the Midwest, living in northern Indiana, it does get dark very early. It's dark by like 4:30 in the afternoon. And as I was walking back up into my yard, I remember looking up at the stars. The stars were all out. And then I saw something fly over my head that blacked out the stars. It was something, it looked to me like a triangle shape. It gave me shivers. I remember looking up, didn't make a sound, and all I could see was blacking out the stars as it cruised over my head. Of course, I couldn't tell how big it was or how far it was up in the air, but that gave me a spook. And I think, I don't know, you know, you kind of go to what's the most, you know, there's the what's the most fun answer, and then what's the most reasonable or logical. Most fun, obviously, would be if it was an alien. But I'd often thought maybe it was some sort of, you know, military plane, something that was silent, quiet. But either way, it gave me, you know, it's something that stuck with me, something that gave me, you know, just a lifelong jolt of fear. That yeah, so this day, not sure what I saw. Thinking about some other like spooky situations that I've been involved with. Of course, for some related content, if you wanted to check out my video from Area 51, I did catch something on film that was unusual there. Yeah, watch my video in Area 51. I don't know if you can call it paranormal, but something was definitely amiss.
No, I just saw a red light flash twice right out here in this field too.
Oh my gosh.
I did. It just flashed 2 times.
I think I might have caught that.
So let's go into the realm of ghosts. And this is something I actually documented on this channel, but I'll include it here, is that when I moved the current house that I own, when the day that we moved into it, my wife at the time, Christy, had prepared our first meal in the house. It was chicken and then some pasta. And I remember looking down, and you can see this documented live on my channel if you want to take a look. I looked down at the noodles in front of me, and it spelled out Jacob. It spelled out my name in what I believe is my handwriting. So that, you know, it freaked me out. It freaked me out. It was the first night we were in that house too. I hadn't had any real paranormal activity since then, and it's been, gosh, it's been 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's been a lot of years since that happened. So I don't know. You know, you always have the option. It could be coincidence. You know, noodles can fall in any pattern, but it was enough to give me a shock, give me a chill. You know, everyone I show that to agrees that it is my name written in my handwriting. But you know, what caused that is I guess up for some debate. Another, and probably this story here is probably the one that I don't have any explanation for. A very strange. I can vividly see it, and I would love, and I call it, and this sounds silly, but I call it a fairy sighting. I was in my bedroom. I was looking out the window. It was dark outside, and clear as day, floating in front of me, there was an orb of light, and it moved much like an insect would move. But this was just an odd light. I mean, it was almost self-contained, like a glowing orb. And I'm not crazy here. I'm telling you guys the truth. Don't say that I'm making this up, because I am 100% honest with you guys. And it moved like a firefly, but it was not like any firefly I'd seen. The level of glow, I mean, it was probably about the size of like a ball of glow, like the size of a baseball, and it moved like this, and then it was gone. I looked, could not find it. It did not repeat. So yeah, I say it's like a fairy sighting. It moved like a fairy, or an insect, and just hovered through the air, that glowing ball of light. No idea what I saw. To this day, I can repeat that in my head, and I do not know what I was looking at that night. Saying it's a fairy may be a bit presumptuous, but I saw something that night. It moved like an animal. Like, I think people suggested ball lightning, but it wasn't storming, it wasn't raining. It just moved, it glowed like a bulb. And so yeah, that's definitely, I'd love to hear suggestions, you know, ideas in the comment section if anyone has any ideas what that is, because to this day, I've never seen any film of anything else like it. It was too close. It seemed close, like it wasn't like a UFO up in the sky or something. It seemed like it was very close to the window when I saw it. But who knows? Who knows? This next story got me quite a bit too when it happened. And I don't know where you classify this. Maybe, I don't know if it's necessarily a ghost story, but you know, back in the day, you know, before this channel, I like to take a lot of photos, and I would go to cemeteries. I loved seeing old graves and old trees, and of course, my wife at the time, Christy, would go with me. She also enjoyed going to cemeteries. I said we were so broke. This is what we did for entertainment. We went to cemeteries. We took pictures, and we went to the cemetery. We went to a cemetery one time, and we took Anna, who was, I think, I'm trying to think how old she would have been, 1 or 2 years old. Remember, she was walking. I would say probably not 2 yet. She was, you know, walking, and we got to the cemetery. The cemetery was kind of on a hill, and once we got to the top of the hill, Anna just started bolting, like making a beeline, just started running. So I was like chasing after her. She was just going as fast as like her tiny little legs could carry her. And she went out of sight. She went behind a gravestone, and I followed her. I saw where she had been, so I went over there, and she was just sitting there, relaxed, sitting on a gravestone as if it were a little chair. And Christy comes up as well. We're both there, and Christy points out that this gravestone, of the hundreds of gravestones in this cemetery, the one that Anna was sitting at was Christy's great uncle. So of all these, Annabelle ran past all these strangers' graves and sat on the grave of one of her ancestors. So, you know, again, chances happen, but that always struck me. That always struck me as something unusual. Just how she took off running, how she vanished, and how she appeared on the gravestone that was actually a relative of hers. And so yeah, that one always got me. That's spooky stories. Just, you know, those things, you know, they always leave questions on whether or not there was something behind it, whether or not it was a coincidence. I'm trying to think. Trying to think of other paranormal experiences. I won't go into too much detail. I don't know if this is still out there on the internet, but I did have, I did witness because I feel like I should at least mention this, but I did witness my friend John from Exploration Unknown. He has a channel where he does some paranormal videos. And then my friend Mortimer Blankenship, was there, and there was a communication with a spirit through a spirit box that I've been to a lot of spirit box readings just for my friends and through the course of this channel, and most of the times I don't necessarily get a lot out of it, but that night it truly, you know what I'm saying, as someone who doesn't necessarily, someone who's a little more difficult to believe things as me, there was a communication that night that chilled me to the bone, that I, when it was happening, believed it 100%. I don't know if that video is still out there. It was very personal, so I don't want to get into too much details here, but I didn't want to leave it out either. I did witness that, and in the realm of ghost stories. Now, this particular story is not a story that directly involved me, but it's probably my favorite real life ghost story. And I don't know, I will tell it the best I can, even though it is not my story, but involves my family and people I am related to. Now, my paternal grandfather, my father's father, died before I was born. He owned a construction company, and he was doing contract work for the city and involving a tunnel. The tunnel flooded, and he died in that accident. But apparently he had been, and I always knew about that accident because I had never met him. He died before I was born. But apparently there was an earlier industrial accident that he was also part of. And the first accident occurred, and it led to an individual that worked for him to become injured and sustain injuries that would affect his mental capacities. And this gentleman that had these injuries, he would later get work as a nighttime janitor. And one of my aunts, who, you know, the daughter of my grandfather, would run into this gentleman, this janitor, and I guess she recognized him, said hello, and the gentleman said, you know, at night when I'm working, your father comes and he helps me. And my aunt was a little taken aback by that, confused, and then talking to another aunt, she relayed the story to one of her older sisters, and the older sister was actually shocked, was taken aback by that statement quite a bit, and said that my grandfather had always felt very guilty for what had happened to this man that caused his accident, that caused him to have you know, damage to his body and mind. And I don't know, I love the story because the thought of my grandfather, from everything I've heard, he was a very beloved man, beloved by his children, beloved by all that knew him. And the thought that him as a benevolent spirit would come and he would spend time with this man that he always felt responsible for. He felt that he was responsible in some way for the injuries, and that he would come and spend time with him. And I don't know, I think it's a beautiful ghost story. Not necessarily scary, but a beautiful story. And it always sticks with me. It always sticks with me because you know, obviously that's my family, and I never got to meet my grandfather. And to think that maybe somewhere he's out there as a benevolent spirit, I think is comforting in a way. So I think I'm trying to think if I have any other good paranormal stories, ghost stories. I wish I had more. Honestly, I think my dream would be to be able to catch a cryptid, not catch a cryptid like in a cage, but to at least photograph or video a cryptid, or an extraterrestrial or an alien. I think you know, that would be, if I could list my goals, like, not necessarily feeling that as a realistic goal, but if I had like just dream goals, it would be that I could prove the existence of a cryptid, of an alien, or heck, even a ghost. If I could be the guy, all I want out of this world is to be the one guy that proves that ghosts are real. But I don't want to have to put in the work. I don't want to have to sit in an abandoned building listening to a spirit box, trying to be quiet. I just want like a ghost to be like, walk up on me, and I like pull out my camera and videotape him like doing a little ghost dance. Yeah, that's not a realistic goal, I don't think. Because you got to put the... I don't want you kids to think that I'm someone who thinks that things come easy, because you got to put the work in. It's probably not going to be me that finds a ghost, that finds a cryptid. It's going to be someone who puts the work in, someone who does sit in an abandoned building listening to a spirit box, or someone that is in the woods with Sasquatch pounding a stick on the tree to make the Sasquatch noises. I think I'd be really happy. I think I'd be really happy if they proved Sasquatch was real. I remember, I'm getting off topic here, but I remember when those guys in Georgia said they had a Sasquatch carcass and they were going to be on Good Morning America. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. I thought Bigfoot. I thought there was going to be a real Bigfoot, and then it turned out to be a hoax, and that was a real bummer. I've actually seen the suit. Went to a small museum in Kentucky, and they have the actual the suit that they faked. That was cool for me, even though the whole thing was a giant letdown. So yeah, I want to believe. I want to see a ghost. I want to see a UFO. I want to see some real cryptids. And I think some people out there drive themselves crazy. Drive themselves absolutely crazy trying to see those things. Trying to touch the moon when it comes to paranormal activity. But yeah, it's been a fun Halloween season. You know, we see a lot of simulated ghoulishness, a lot of simulated ghostliness. So I thought we'd talk about some real life ghostliness here on the channel for a change. Yeah, let me know. I love getting feedback on any of these stories, any thoughts, feelings, observations. If you can tell me what I saw, when I saw it, that would be fun. Halloween season, it's something, isn't it? Appreciate you guys joining me, not only tonight, but for the entirety of this amazing Halloween season. And be more content coming. This channel has gotten to the point, I've realized, where I kind of fall on a seasonal schedule. In the summer, when all the amusement parks are open, I'm running around filming amusement parks. In the Halloween season, when the haunts are open, I'm doing haunts. And then in the winter, I'm doing the indoor stuff, the museums and whatnot that don't necessarily open certain parts of the years. So some of you really like the museum content and things like that. I know there hasn't been as much of that. So as the winter comes on, of course, winter has its own limitations on what we can do. But give me some suggestions. Let me know where you'd like to see me go this winter. Let me know what you'd like to see me film, what kind of content you'd like to see come out on this channel, and I will do my best. Hopefully coming up, I got some ideas for road trips. We'll see if we can get them to work. And thank you guys for the continued support. It's always Patreon, always enamel pins, if you'd like to show your support in other ways. But it's all appreciated. So until next time, this one's in the bag.